I don't know if you guys ever had something just so incredibly fucked up or just so incredibly bad that happened to you, but then I you know, looking back in it in hindsight, it was probably like the greatest thing that ever happened to you. At first you looked at it as a curse, but it ended up being a blessing. That's kind of pretty much what I think about when I hear Joseph's story. Imagine your brothers or sisters sold you into slavery, and the only reason why they sold you into slavery is because they were jealous of you and they didn't like you, and because of that they also really wanted to kill you, and they chose not to kill you because they didn't want to be seen as criminals. That's the only reason they didn't want to kill you, because if they killed you, then they might go to jail. Sheesh. All of this and what I'm telling you right now is the story of Joseph. I've been reading the Bible more often, and I've really been finding it very interesting, and I've came across my favorite character so far, who's named Joseph, and this is my favorite story, so I wanted to use this time to briefly explain the story and my thoughts on it. So Joseph's brothers didn't like Joseph for whatever reason. I think it was because he was his father's favorite child, and he also used to have dreams where he was the king and ruler of his brothers, and his brothers felt insecure about that, so they ended up choosing to take him to the desert and sell him to slavery. And then after selling him to slavery, they took his clothes, stained it in blood, and showed it back to his father, and they pretended that Joseph was dead. They started weeping and crying, "Oh my gosh, Joseph is dead, blah blah blah," and that made Joseph's dad, who's named Jacob, start to cry. Meanwhile, while Joseph is sold into slavery, he gets sold to his master, and his master has a wife who ends up really finding Joseph to be very attractive, and he wants to, you know, have sex with this dude, and he wants to have sex with Joseph, and so he keeps going to Joseph, "Joseph, have sex with me, Joseph, have sex with me," and Joseph is like, "Nah, I'm good, I got too many hoes." Nah, he didn't say any of that, but Joseph was denying him and saying, "Nah, I don't want to have sex," and because he wouldn't give the woman attention, the woman ended up lying and snitching to the master and said, "Master, guess what Joseph did to me? He raped me, he plowed me out, and he disrespected me." And because of that, the master was like, "What? Nobody's gonna do that to my wife," and put Joseph in jail. So Joseph is innocent, he doesn't deserve any of this, and he's in jail. And while he's in jail, guess what? He has this ability to interpret dreams. He started interpreting dreams for all types of random people, and after he interpreted those dreams, they ended up coming true. He was able to interpret the dream of the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh is the ruler of Egypt. And the ruler of Egypt, he had this dream that was really pressing him. He couldn't interpret it, but he knew it was really important. So he ended up going to Joseph, and he said, "Hey man, I went to all my wise men, I went to all my kinsmen, and none of these dudes could tell me what the hell this dream means. Joseph, what does this dream mean?" And so then Joseph was able to interpret it, and he was basically said, "So in 7 years, you're going to be really wealthy, and your Egypt is going to be having all types of prosperity. The economy is going to be busting, the economy is going to be booming, but then after that, 7 years of famine, you'll be screwed, and you're going to be begging for food, and you guys are going to be going through poverty. But I have an idea for you. In order for you to prevent that, during those 7 years of your wealth, you should save some of that food so that by the time your famine comes, you can have enough food for yourself and your country." And the ruler of Egypt was like, "Damn, that's a brilliant idea, and I also think that dream sounds really accurate. Because you sound very wise and intelligent, I'm gonna make you the ruler of Egypt." So damn, Joseph is the ruler of Egypt. Bear with me, I'm sorry, I know this story is really long, but I just have to tell it because I really like it. And so he's the ruler of Egypt, and now that he's the ruler of Egypt, this what his prophecy ended up coming true. 7 years of greatness, and then the 7 years of famine come. And during the years of famine, and when the whole of Egypt needed food, his brothers also needed food too. So they ended up going all the way back to Joseph for food, but they didn't know that Joseph became the king of Egypt, and they didn't recognize his brother because he looked like a king. But when Joseph saw them, he could recognize his brothers instantly, but he played it off. He played it cool, and he acted like the king he was. He acted like the boss he was, and he asked his brothers, why are you here today? What makes you guys want to come here? And the brothers were like, oh master, we need food. We need food. We need food. If we don't have food, we're gonna die. We haven't had food for days. And so he said, I don't believe you. Where's your whole family? Why didn't you bring your dad and your younger brother with you? And they said, oh no, but we're not capping. We're not capping. If you want, we can bring our younger brother. We can bring our younger brother to prove to you that we're a good family and that we stick together. And then so Joseph was like, all right. If I can trust you guys, and if you can stay true to your words, if you bring your brother back, I will make sure to give you food. So the Joseph's brothers, they came back with their their younger brother Benjamin, and they brought Benjamin to him. I believe this is Joseph's first time seeing Benjamin, so he just broke down emotionally, and he went straight to Benjamin and he hugged him, and he was just so happy to see his younger brother. And then he started crying, and he finally revealed his identity, and he said, hey guys, honestly, I was capping. This is not really who I am. I am the king of Egypt, but I'm also your guys' brother. And he ended up revealing to his brothers that he became the king of Egypt. And the reason why I found this story to be extremely fascinating and interesting is I thought that I took a lot of love and courage for Joseph to forgive his brothers and to end up giving them food and gold and land and everything they needed to survive the famine, even though the brothers betrayed them and sold them into slavery. Despite all the crap and BS that he had to go through, whether that was being accused for rape, being sent to jail, being sold by his brothers to slavery, Joseph always had faith, and that faith allowed him to eventually become the ruler of Egypt. So I just want to end this video with some closing thoughts and a very interesting quote or phrase from the Bible that came from Joseph, and this is it. Joseph said this, and I guess this is what was this? This was in Genesis chapter part 50 or whatever. Excuse my ignorance. I'm not really hip to all like the Christian terminology and stuff. But Joseph pretty much said this: don't be afraid of me. Am I God that I can punish you? You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. That way of saying God works in mysterious ways? But like that pretty much encapsulate the story as a whole. That even though his brothers did him dirty, Joseph took the higher road, and he didn't take it personally, and even better, he actually interpreted him being sold into slavery as God's doing for him to lead him into a path of prosperity. So basically, anyways, sorry for the long-windedness. If you stayed the whole time, I appreciate you, and hopefully my videos aren't always this long-winded. I just really wanted to share this story with y'all, and let me know your thoughts. What's your favorite story from the Bible, and what did you think of the story? Anyways, thank you all so much, and have a blessed day.